already enjoying it significantly. I want to believe that you are enjoying this Sunday that happens to be the first Sunday of August 2024. It means that we just have 4 months to go, right? September, October, November, December. For those of us that are Christians, I hope you've started saving money for your Christmas shoes and you have started saving money for Christmas in general. Oh, if you're not Christmas, you're not Christian, you may want to start saving money for the New Year celebrations and all the beauty that comes with it. Today is a beautiful day, and I'll be having a conversation with you that I believe you're going to enjoy. Remember that your radiotherapist focuses on handling, discussing, and preferring solutions to sex issues, sex, relationship, marriage, family life, and mental health, right? Of course, it is rated PG, so we ensure we watch our language to ensure that if your kids are also listening to the radio, they would not be violated, they will not be abused. So if you're a parent right now and you're listening to this, do not worry. Your kids are safe because I will do everything possible to ensure that my use of language, my thought pattern, and the information I'll be sharing with you today will be PG rated. Mind you, the things that I share here do not amount to professional advice, they just amount to information, education, and general orientation. So if you ever need professional service, I would always say, and I say it again, that you should consult a therapist or consult a counselor nearest to you. If you want to contact me, fine, you can do that because yes, sincerely, it's a counselor, a psychologist, and I am also a family lawyer. So I'll be glad to attend to you. But if you don't want to contact me, it is fine if you contact the person that is closest to you. Yes, your radiotherapist, as I've mentioned, happens here every Sunday. So I want you to join me 1 p.m. And when you're doing that, I will always want you to hold your diary and your Bible because we're jotting doing activities together. And if you want to call into the studio, that is fine. I will definitely take your calls once you call us on 0704 7000 937. I call the number again 0704 7000 937. If you call us live, we will attend to you. If you drop a comment on Facebook or you drop a comment on YouTube, we would also take the comment. So we want you to participate because today, for example, you are my guest. Yes, no matter where you're joining me from, whether you're joining me in the city of Ibadan or you're joining me somewhere else in Nigeria or any other place in the world, you are my guest. We'll be having this conversation together. So you can always call in to ask your questions and call in to make your contributions. So this topic on your radiotherapist, which is reaching you from Vintage 93.7 FM Oluyole Ibadan, is simple. And we want to talk about how to set boundaries and how to say no in your relationships. How to set boundaries and how to say no in your relationships. Now, in setting boundaries and in saying no in your relationship, we are not just looking at your romantic relationships, we are also looking at the relationship you have with other members of your family. We are looking at the relationship you have with your colleagues, with your colleagues at work or your colleagues at school. We are looking at the relationship you have with your neighbors. We're looking at relationship generally, how to set boundaries and how to say no. Yes, the reason why why we have to do this, I still remember some days ago, I was listening to a conversation, overhearing a conversation, and a particular person was complaining that what she did not like about it was that the other person was just a yes, yes person. Like, why is it that you always say yes? Why is it that you don't always say no? And this is one thing I want you to realize, that if you are a yes, yes person, I mean, you're always saying yes. We expect you to always say yes. When things happen, you are most likely going to say yes. It is not so good. And I will explain that with time, right? With time, I will explain that why you follow us on this particular episode of your radiotherapist. There are many reasons why you should say no. Of course, you should say no when it is necessary, and you should say no when it is very important, when you have to say no. What we see out there, and even in our counseling clinic again and again, is are people who are able to say no to something they do not enjoy, something they do not want, something they don't want to be part of, something they don't want to experience. And so they just keep on saying yes. Sometimes they don't even say yes, they just keep quiet. And like people will always say that silence means consent. Well, as a lawyer, I would like to say that silence does not mean consent all the time. Silence is silence. It means that the person did not say anything, right? Silence could mean I pass. So all that statement we always hear outside that, oh, silence means consent. Oh, silence does not necessarily mean consent. It can mean I pass. And so this is why we usually say you should always get an express statement from those person, something expressed that the person expressly said yes or the person expressly said no. So this time we want to see how to set boundaries in your relationships and how to say no, most especially how to say it in a healthy and in a respectful way. So before you start setting your boundaries in any relationship that you're in, before you start setting those particular boundaries, you want to first of all understand why you're setting those boundaries. So it's not just to say, oh, I don't like picking calls beyond 8 p.m. For example, that's someone like me. I usually don't enjoy picking calls beyond 8 p.m. unless maybe it's an emergency and or something close to that. I would usually say, give me all the calls you want to give me before 8 p.m. because I would have dropped my phone once it's 8 p.m. So that is a boundary, kind of a phone boundary for me, right? And I may not read messages again until the next day. You have reasons to set the boundaries that you're setting, and these boundaries that you're setting, they are valid. They are valid. You are the one who's setting them, you are the one experiencing them, so they are very valid because they significantly affect your life. They significantly determine how you enjoy things and how you experience things. So I would want you to set those boundaries. But to setting those boundaries, it is very important that you let us know why you're setting the boundaries. Very, very important why you're setting these boundaries is because, oh, I don't like this, I don't want that, I don't want you doing this, I don't want you doing that because of XYZ, right? So know clearly, understand your needs, understand what you're looking for, understand what you want, understand that, oh, this is me and this is how I want to see things, and this is what I want to be able to share with people. I want to experience with people, but at other times, this is when I just want to be alone. This is when I don't want you to do anything. Take for example, people will say when we are teaching our kids, we say do not allow any person to touch your private parts. And again, I usually say it, that a kid's private part, every part of a kid's body is the kid's private part, or rather, not just kid, all of us, every part of our bodies are private parts. So my hair is private, it's not publicly owned. It is owned by me and me alone. Right? My fingers, my hand, my legs, every part, my ears, right? So it is the same right, the amount of rights that I have over my genitals or genitalia is the same I still have over this other part of body. It is the same way I want to respect my hair, I want to respect every other part of my body. See, it is the same. If you touch any part without my consent, it is as much a trespass. All right. So you want to set boundaries to like, oh, I don't like people touching me. And I know there are people who, when they're talking and they are conversing, they always want to touch or they always want to do this. And you're like, oh, I don't like people touching me, right? Or when it comes to things like this, I will not want you, maybe for your partner, I will not want you to be the one who makes the decisions or who makes all the decisions because it directly affects me. For example, that's one of my boundaries. In all the things I'm part of and all the people that I am in a relationship with, whether they my spouse, my kids, my family members, my friends, I usually tell them something simple, that anything that directly affects me, right? Anything that directly affects me, ensure that you carry me along and ensure that I'm involved in that decision making. Because if you make that decision and I'm not involved, I'm going to leave you to it. I'm going to allow you stay on your own because, hello, I'm not part of it. And you will not coerce me to become part of it, right? You will not do that. So you want to set those boundaries and know exactly why you are setting the boundaries. Now, again and again, we get to see people who usually set boundaries only in their mind. Like people do not know these boundaries. Their friends do not know these boundaries. They do not even tell people these boundaries. They don't even communicate it, right? People right now who are at work or maybe among their colleagues or maybe in their marital relationship or the boyfriend girlfriend relationship or the family relationship, and I'm like, what are your boundaries? And that's one question I'm asking you right now. Hello, what are your boundaries? What boundaries do you have generally? Right? What boundaries do you have? What are those lines you will not want people to cross? What are those lines you will not allow people to break? Yes, you understand, we'll always say things like, oh, there are people that are meant for the outer court, there are people that are meant for the inner court, and there are people who are meant for the holies of holies. So those are your inner courts, your closest people, your closest friends, and all of that. Yes, there are people like that, right? So, but the question is, for these different people, what are their boundaries? What's the boundaries? I would always tell people who, I will always tell my friends, I will always tell my neighbors and people around that, say, come, when you want to call me on any of the communication platforms, do not start with a video call. Start with an audio call and request for a video call. So the moment you come up straight and you are making a video call, I'm most likely not going to pick it. I would most likely not pick it. Like, I will feel it's an error. Like, why you just choosing to cross this? I've said it clearly before. I'll not tell you again, right? So, like, come on. When you want to call me audio first, right? Before you start calling me, before you say, oh, I would like us to have a video, can we put on our camera? And I'll say, okay, that's fine. Let's do that. So you want to be clear regarding your boundaries. Like, and again, why are you setting your boundaries? Why are you reflecting on them? Because I believe you are with your journal right now and you're jotting them down. I want to believe that you're writing them. Like I said, if you want to be part of your radiotherapist, you should always ensure that you're with your journal and you are able to write, right? So the first activity I gave you earlier on was that you should write down your boundaries, like generally, all the boundaries you can remember that you have right now. You want to start writing them down. Not even want to start writing them down. I want you to write them clearly. For those who are Christian, scripture says, write a vision, make it plain. So right now I'm saying, write the boundaries, make it plain. What are your boundaries regarding cause? What are your boundaries regarding visitation? Well, there's the general boundary that, oh, please do not visit somebody without first calling the person. Right, you should call a person first to ask the person, are you home? I would like to come over, I would like to come and see you, I'm bringing so and so, I'm doing this. If you just go to the person's house, right, the person may accept you, the person may welcome you, but many times it may be very inconveniencing for the person because the person may not have wanted to receive you at that time. Right? So there are general boundaries that exist. Even in those days when we did not have phone calls and we did not have all the different messaging apps. I remember one day I was telling my mom, I was like, Mom, if you want to come to my house, you have to write a letter and send the letter. And when we have received the letter, we will now reply you that, oh, you can come, it's convenient for us, it's not convenient for us. This time I was a teenager, I was not up to 15 years at that particular time when I already understood that boundary. So we have boundaries regarding calls. I know people who are in my inner court, for example. There are people who can call me 2 a.m. and I will pick. There are people who can call me 12 a.m. If I'm already asleep and my wife sees their call, my wife may wake me up and say, Susan, so person is calling you. Pick it up, right? That's because of how close we are. And that's because for them, there are no boundaries. So boundaries could be specific to certain people and could also be general to everyone, right? So I know you may be feeling bad and say, but he accepts it from other persons now, or she accepted it from so and so now. Well, The boundary may not be general for everybody, just for some specific people, right? So if the person say, for you, I don't like this, it means that for you, the person does not like it. Don't try to cross it, don't try to break it because another person has broken it. So right now, I believe that you have written some of the general boundaries you have. You want to write the boundaries you have regarding money. You want to have the boundaries you have regarding conversations. You want to have, talk about, like, for example, I usually do not enjoy gossip, right? Just gossip, well, I'm only able to gossip with my wife, and even at that, I'm not doing fine. I'm not doing well at all because once the G start like this, I'm like, well, the other things I want to take about, the other things I would like to focus on right now. So you want to write what your boundaries are regarding conversations, what your boundaries are regarding phone calls, what your boundaries are regarding money, what your boundaries are regarding visitation, what your boundaries are regarding somebody touching your body, what your boundaries are regarding different somebody making decisions on your behalf, what your boundaries are in somebody giving out um your contact details, what your boundaries are in somebody visiting your home or visiting your office. Like I usually say, even if my office door is open, knock before you enter. I just like that. So there are different boundaries, right? And today on your radiotherapist, reaching you from VTH 93.7 FM Oluyole Ibadan, that happens every Sunday, 1 p.m. to 3 p.m. to 2 p.m. rather, 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. We are talking about how to set boundaries and also how to say no in a relationship. So now you have identified these boundaries. And in setting these boundaries, you want to first of all pay attention to your needs. Like, what are the needs in my life? What are my personal needs? I know we are supposed to love others as we love ourselves, right? That's even the Old Testament commandment. In the New Testament, the Bible, Jesus Christ said, a new command I give unto you, love them as I have loved you. So you can see that the rule is not actually loving your neighbor as yourself. That was what Moses said. So loving your neighbor as yourself was what Moses said. Or Jesus Christ said, love them as I have loved you. Yes, you want to love people generally, and you want to extend love to them. But at the same time, you want to protect your sanity. You want to protect your space. You want to guard that part of you, right? You want to guard that part of you. You want to protect that's your sphere and the rest. So you want to ask yourself, what are my needs? What are the particular needs that I have? So I have sleep needs. So there are particular times that you cannot book for. People will say, oh, I want to book for counseling. I would like to book a consultation. I would like to. There are times you cannot make those bookings because that is my rest time, or that is my thinking time, or that is my family time, or that is my personal time. I just want to enjoy myself. I just want to be there by myself, right? You may say, oh, but you're not doing anything right now, or but you don't appear to be busy right now. I can be very, very, very extremely busy, and that busyness is that I'm resting. So I am rest is a very busy activity for me because I'm resting. Hello, hi. That's it. So what you want to do is that you want to first of all ask yourself, what are my needs? What are the things I need in my life? What are the things that will make me feel safe? What are the things that will protect my esteem? What are the things that will protect my value? What are my values? What are the things that will protect my self-worth? So in every aspect of life, ask yourself these questions. What are the things that will make me feel safe? What are the things that will protect my value? What are the things that will protect my mental health, my sanity? What are the things that will protect my self-worth, my self-esteem, right? What are the things that will protect my human rights? Once you're done identifying these things, you can now start making the boundaries. So making the boundaries, and you're not making the boundaries like, okay, how far can people in the outer court come? How far can people in the inner court come? How far can people in the holies of holies come? So you want to set boundaries to say, oh, I don't take I don't take business and work calls beyond 6 p.m. So you write that down. Now we are talking about conversation. We say, okay, I don't take business and work calls beyond 6 p.m. or attend to such emails beyond that time. regarding my body, right? Regarding trespass of body, say, okay, uh, I don't shake hands with people unless I'm the one offering it. If they offer it, I have the discretion not to shake hands. In the sense that I will not, maybe I will not shake hands with people who are strangers. Or, for example, you could say, I can only accept or give hug to my spouse, right? So it's more or less like a boundary. So it comes to your money too. And your money, you also have boundaries regarding your money. For example, you could say, I will never give more than 10% as dash to people, right? It's a boundary. It's a boundary. So no matter what it is, if you have given different people monies, maybe a 1K here, a 3K here, a 5K there, and you have given that money, you can say, oh, all the monies I'm giving out this month will not go beyond 10%, right? Or before I will give you money, you must, before I loan you money, you must have this kind of relationship with me. Or there's boundaries that you can say, no, 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 I don't loan people money without interest, or I don't even loan people money at all. Different boundaries based on your own needs. Now, after you have made this boundary, it is very clear you remember why, you understand why. The reason why you have to understand why is because you will regularly be required to communicate this boundary to people. So somebody says, oh, like for example, if you call me and you say, oh, I have some work things that I would like to discuss with you at the rest. And I'm like, okay, when we discuss with me, say, oh, I will discuss with you on Saturday. I just tell you clearly straight. Sorry, I don't work on Saturday. And work calls on Saturday has to do with work. It's family time. Unless, of course, you pay special consultation for that, which now goes to the benefit of my family, right? So these are some of the boundaries you want to set. And while you have understood the boundaries you want to set, the reasons why you're setting them, you communicating them clearly, you communicating them respectfully. People, there are some people who unknowingly will break these boundaries, or sometimes they know that boundary, but it has not yet become part of them. So from their subconscious, right, they just broke it. You have to extend grace to them. You have to be kind to them. You have to be considerate that people will usually relate with you and treat you generally. For your spouse, you have to allow some things to grow. Like you have to allow some things to just be. I remember when we newly got married. Of course, in this month will be six years. 6 years, our sixth anniversary is sometime in this month. And I remember when we newly got married that my wife had one of her boundaries there was that, oh, whenever she wanted to use the toilet, she would not like me to be around in that same bathroom, right? In that same room and the rest. But right now, when she's using the toilet, I'm there. When I'm using the toilet, she's there. The rules and those boundaries have dropped, right? There are different boundaries. I have visited a home of a very dear friend who said that, oh, according to their culture, it is wrong for a woman to be at home and a man will be in the kitchen. So I said, well, that may be according to your culture, but to my culture, there's nothing wrong with that. It's fine if you can do that. But she said, no, that she actually wants it to be so for her. In some way, somehow, it tells much about how much she honors and respects that particular tradition and culture. And I'm like, okay, that's fine. Interestingly, when she is not in the kitchen and the rest, or when she's not at home, we do everything. She allows us to do everything. You can enter the kitchen and the rest. But when there's a woman, so she will say, let the woman handle the kitchen. Now, it may not be, I may say like, why that special rule? Like, what's so significant in that? But that is your boundary, that is your culture. You have to just respect it. Now, while you made your boundaries, you clearly stated things that matter. You may want to go further to communicate it and communicate it clearly. Don't just tell it to people as if you're fighting them. Don't tell it to them as if you're angry with them and you're happy with them, especially in a situation where they have already broken it. You may want to just clearly explain to them that, oh, sorry, I don't like people touching me. I understand that you, based on your personality type, you usually like to touch people while you're talking with them. But I usually don't like touching me, so I'll be so glad if you don't touch me. Or rather, oh, please, I can see you're making a video, or I can see that you're taking pictures, but I will not like my face to show in that video, or I will not like my face to show in a particular photograph. So you blur it out, or you are able to make that video to ensure that my face is not in it. We have to respect the dignity of the person or people. We have to respect their dignity, right? So you just clearly explain it to them. And after you explain it to them, ensure that you explain it clearly and you are assertive. Assertive does not mean you are sounding rude, you're sounding harsh. That doesn't mean that you are sounding very clear and you're sounding direct. So if you're sounding clear and direct, that is being assertive. Okay, we're receiving a call. Right, let me see who the caller is. Hello, good afternoon. Hello, good afternoon. What is your name and where are you calling us from? Oh, sorry, we lost that call. Yes, if you want to call us, remember I said you can call in to ask your questions and you could also call in to make your contributions. If you're watching us on Facebook or you're watching us on YouTube and you want to ask a question or drop a comment, you can do that in the comment section. So you can drop your contributions, you can drop your questions in the comment section, you and we'll take it whether you're watching on Facebook or you're watching on YouTube. And now if you're listening through your radio and you want to call us, you can call us on 0704 7000 937. 0704 7000 937. You could also call us on 0909 999 7937 to ask your question. So let me ask you this question and I want you to answer. What has been that boundary you have been trying to make, but people do not seem to understand it? Right? What is that boundary that you like that you have, but you are always unable to clearly explain to people, or rather, people always do not understand it, and people always feel that no, it's too much. So if you have any of such boundaries, you could drop it in the comment section, or you could call us 0704 7000 937. You could also call us on 0909 999 7937. What is that boundary? Or if you have any issues or any challenges with boundaries and you want to ask your questions, you could always send them in and we would respond. Right? So now let's go to the other part. While you're doing that, while you're on that, let's go to the other part of today's conversation, which is saying no. Many people don't like saying no, and they usually will not say no because they don't want the other person to be offended. Now, let me tell you something. If that person is offended, let it be that the offense is not coming from you trying to hurt them. Let it be that the offense is their personal issue, them trying to deal with their own personal realities. Right? Yes, let me explain this and let me see how I can explain this as clearly as possible so that you can get it and get me very clearly. There are many times people want you to do something. There are many times people want you to give them something. There are many times people who want some benefits and some privileges, but you're not placed to give it. Or if you're in a place to give it, you do not want to give it. The power of free will. We all have free will, right? We all have the discretion to be able to say yes to something or to be able to say no to something. It's not a must, right? There's no rule that say for any person that asks you something, you must give it to them, or for any person that requests for your time, you have to give them that time, or for any person that wants you to do something, or we don't even know how to break it down for that, right? But this is it. You have no duty to always say yes on matters that are personal. If you are employed to do a job or you're contracted to render a particular service and what you are being asked is in line with your job, what you are being asked is in line with your office, in line with your duty, in line with your responsibility, then you cannot say no. No would be rebellion. No, no saying no at that times will be disobedience. However, if it is something personal, you have no obligation to say yes. I know there are many people who say, but I've done those things for him now. I've done those kind of things for her now. I've been nice to her too. I've been doing like that. Like, people who want to hand twist you, who want to kind of emotionally blackmail you, like, oh, because I've been good to you, because I've done this to you, and of course, I accept that from everybody. So why shouldn't you accept it from me? Like, you accept it from everybody does not mean that I should accept it from you. That is you, and that's fine. I don't have any fight or any issues with you if you choose to do that, right? It's your choice. I mean, it's your choice. However, you cannot now compare me to do it. Like, I cannot be compared to now do it to say, oh, because everybody accepts it, I should accept it. If it's something personal, if it has to do with something personal, you have the discretion to say no. You must not say yes all the time. I see this in the counseling room regularly. And even for people who have had bad contracts, so because of this particular skill, their inability to be assertive when it comes to what they do not want, when it comes to something that they find displeasing, you should be able to clearly tell people no. One thing I should make everybody clearly understand, right? So for whether you're watching us on Facebook right now or you're watching us on YouTube, is that no is a complete statement. I know we usually want you to explain. I understand we usually want you to just see how you can make them understand you better so that they don't misunderstand you, so that they don't misconstrue you. Oh, that's fine. If you can do that, that is fine. Like, clearly explain to them why you are telling them no, that is fine if you can do that. However, people should realize and understand that no is a complete statement. That does not necessarily mean further explanation. Will you like to come for the party? No. Will you like to help me do so and so? No. Could you loan me some money? No. Could you gift me this or that? No. Can I get a hug? No. Without explanation. Now, whether you're the person who gives it or you're the person who will receive it, you should realize that no is complete. Right? No is complete. Well, if you are in a romantic relationship, or maybe right now you're married, or you are a child, so this no that you're saying is to your parents, or this no that you're saying is to your superior in the line of duty, in the line of your job, you may want to give further explanation. So further explanation is the fact that, oh, will you be able to handle this file and do this right now and get this done right now? So you may say, no, I will not be able because of A, B, C, right? So if you're in a romantic relationship or you are married right now, and your partner asks you a question, you can say you can answer no because of so and so. But then a time comes in that particular relationship, and this is not only just a relationship with a significant other. I'm talking about relationships generally with people in your life, people in your family, your colleagues, your neighbors, your housemates, and the rest. That no becomes sufficient. You don't necessarily have to be explaining every time, like every time. I know there are some people who always want, why are you saying no? Why are you saying no? I'm like, but sometimes I just say some people, well, I don't have any reason. Right now, I don't have any reason, but I just feel, based from how I'm feeling right now, I just want to say no. I don't think I want to do anything more than that. So in saying no, you have to say it clearly. Let the person hear you say no. You are not missing it up. Let the pitch, let the tone, and let your body language match with the no. And all those things of the person is saying no, but it's like continue, right? So if you're saying no, you're telling the person no. Yeah, people can be funny. Sometimes it's deliberate, and Sometimes it's not deliberate. You have told them no before. You've told them you don't like a particular thing. You've told them not to do something again. You've told them you don't want something to be done again. But these same people who always want to cross that barrier, they will always want to cross that boundary rather. They will always want to come at you to see, oh, I thought that by now you'd have changed your mind. I thought that by now, oh, I thought that was just only because of that time. They are like, oh, so for them, it's good if you explain, like, that's not the whole gist. The gist is that I'm actually saying no because of this, because of that. If you're just joining me, this is your radio therapist. It is reaching you from Vintage 93.7 FM, Oluyole, Ibadan. Your radio therapist happens every Sunday, 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. So you could always join us on Facebook, Vintage 93.7 FM. You could join me directly and all right on Facebook. You could join us on me on YouTube too, all right passion, and you'll be able to watch what is happening in the studio live, and you'll also be able to participate. Like I said, if you have questions, you could call us on 0704 7000 or 0909 999 7937. If you drop comments or you drop questions on Facebook or YouTube, we would answer it. Do not forget that what I share here is not professional advice, it's just for educational and general orientation purposes. So I would like you to contact us directly, right? I will share my number at the end of the day. So stay with me if you want to get my number. Stay with me to the end of the program and you'll be able to get the number to reach me directly, right? Or you could find a counselor around you to help you. It is still your radio therapist, and I'm glad that you are with me. Do not